Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Trackling 101. My name. What? What? What is.
Hey, Kiss!
What?
Watch out!
What?
Watch
Ah! What the fuck? What happened? What does this even mean? What was that? Why? Where's the engine? I think it's better not to ask questions. My name's Kist, and welcome back to another episode of Trackling 101. Today, hopefully without any other distractions, we'll be heading to the coal mine. Let's get started. So the first thing on the docket is to talk about the route. I'm going to skip over anything Paint 3D or doing anything in Rare's Extended. I'm just going to use the default map here. If I zoom in real quickly, maybe with a little snap, and I actually look down this canyon, there seems to be like this little gray squiggle. This is actually the river, the one over here to our left. And what it actually does is it follows the canyon pretty nicely. I believe this is what we're going to do, kind of building up to the coal mine. I think it might be better and pretty scenic to stick close to the river as we build higher towards the coal mine. There is a grade, it does hill up over time, but it's very, very slow, very gradual. So we'll have plenty of time, or plenty of distance to grade up, and we don't have to do anything crazy, no 3%, 4%, probably just be more like 1 to 2 on the higher end. So that'll be really nice for us. When we finally get down to this bigger opening at the base of the coal mine, I'm going to try to zoom in really closely here. There's like this little tiny squiggle in the mountain. It's like a little trace. It goes around this horseshoe, up and around, a little hairpin, and eventually it snakes its way to the coal mine. This is what we're going to take to get there. We're going to dance around back and forth over the river, maybe stay on one side, switch to the other, then dance back. And then we're going to take a very clearly intended route up into the coal mine. Should be rather straightforward. The only hard part is actually, building this. This is the longest route in the game, just by its default. And so it's just going to take a long time for us to get there. So, without any other distractions, and hopefully no other trains hitting me in the face, we can finally start building. Let's go. So I believe for a majority of this will actually be a time lapse. There isn't too much to talk about while building, but I wanted to talk about one thing real quickly. Like I said, I'm going to stick to the river as best as I can. I think it's going to allow for some just cool pieces of track. And obviously I'm going to have to zigzag back and forth across the river. So the question is, when do I cross? Where should I cross? What looks better? In my opinion, I would don't do this. I would not build something very shallow like this. I don't know. I think if it runs perpendicular or parallel with the river, something like this, or just takes up a lot more distance, I don't think it looks as good. I'd rather have a short bridge. Now, this is just preference. Personally, I'd rather have a shorter bridge that goes straight across rather than a long, shallow, parallel one. So for this case, I'm just gonna literally do straight zigzags, probably more S-curves than anything else. So that's just what I wanted to share with you, and what you'll notice eventually is I'll probably stay flat for a little bit, but I will need to curve up, and hopefully I plan to only do like a 1% in theory. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. So let's do it. future-kissed here, and as we're building through the time lapse, I feel like this is a good chance to talk about something again. Last video, in the Iron Man video, I briefly talked about how I'm creating the route with these giant curve segments. Now, as I'm doing so here, you'll see I have a 90-meter radius, and I'm just dragging it out. And once I found out a good radius, I just switched to stone wall and trying again. But I realized here it was gonna clip too much, so now I'm trying again to figure out a good radius. Now it's 100, maybe 80. That's what I decided on. And you can see I just wanted to draw it out. It's like you find a radius you like, maybe you mess around with it, a few pieces, and then just make one giant segment. Let's say a 100-meter, 200-meter piece. You know, the point of which is to try to see if it can make around this curve, if it can make around this bend. So just want to point that out, and as we keep going, you'll see that throughout. Right now we're doing a straight segment, but coming up soon, we're going to make a nice giant curve, and it's just trial and error. So I wanted to stop real quickly here because we have a good problem to fix right now. Personally, looking at this, I do not like the amount of groundwork that is here. I think it needs to be less. And actually, we can probably fix the grade we started too, because it's a little inconsistent. So I am going to fix what I do like though. I'm going to straighten this out because this part's good. This is what I need. So we'll do 50 to round out, and we'll build another piece. Look at that, ta-da. Yeah, these two look a lot better, but now we gotta fix all this. So I'm actually gonna work backwards now that I have these kind of pieces in place. Now, when it comes to actually kind of problem solving like this, it's like, okay, you wanna make it look better. Well, try to keep in mind the stuff we kind of talked about is, whenever you have a bridge or you wanna put a bridge, it is good to put stone wall before the bridge. This way it kind of acts like a foundation piece, or it looks like a little bit more supported than just connected to loose gravel and dirt. So I'm just going to use bridge 2 here. Continue, keep it going straight. Now, I'm going to end it here. Okay, so now I just need to find the radius. I think that's what, 230? So 300, cool. So in this case, negative 300. I did what, 12 on that side? I can't remember. I'm gonna do 12 on this side though. And now, to cover this little gap instead of groundwork, we have a cute little bridge. Since it dips down again, I'm actually gonna delete this and just put a stone wall piece that goes across this. We'll do 27 meters, why not? Yep. This way we have the nice kind of long supporting piece for both, well, any bridge really. So now I can just extend this out probably till 44 meters sounds good. I'm trying to find a good way to make sure it covers a decent amount of land. So now, same thing. Since we have another dip, I'm just gonna put a stone wall. We'll go 24 out, whole numbers, even numbers. We love those. We'll do 50. Nice and even. It's probably a little too close to the ground, but who cares? I think we can just link it up to this one. Right. Now there's still one more problem. The railings. It looks a little weird to have the railings on the inside of the curve, so just replace. Ta-da! All through these like cascading, concurrent, something. Look at this. Kind of like the one bridge but broken up into different parts. I think it looks kind of cool. Not gonna lie. I think it adds a little bit uniqueness to it. Now this. Well, this one's a little bit weirder because of this. I think it's fine up until, well, never mind. I think this is where the grade actually starts. And so, I actually don't mind a huge thing of groundwork. Personally, I'm trying to mitigate how much of it there is. So I'm actually gonna go 22 meters. Looks like it's not a bad height. Now I'm gonna go to a wall. Still at 1 degree, yes. I'm gonna go 12 meters out. And part of me just wants to connect these two and see what happens. See, does that look horrible? I don't know, I feel like a bridge could be better there, not gonna lie. Okay. I think that works. Yeah, not gonna lie, I think like this chocolate brown, the DNRG Western bridge is a lot better. So, let me just cut real quickly after I get the bridges in place. You know, in my opinion, I like this a lot more. I really do. I don't know, I really love this bridge. I think the white accent against it just makes it so good to look at. It's also just a nice brown color. I like it a lot. Now, let's just get back to the building. So what's the game plan here? Well, I'm sure you already saw, but you can see it's gonna go up even more, and I'm concerned that this 2% actually won't cut it. Let's find out. Yeah, look at that. So, I think I actually made a boo-boo. Makes me wonder if this 2% is actually null and void. We're gonna find out together. Okay, barely, but at a 3% it is possible. That had me worried for a little bit. So I guess I was wrong. 3% is the bet doing this route. You just gotta plan ahead. So I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna make the 3% start on the stone wall. We did what, 12 meters? Yes. Now I think I'm gonna do some zigzagging here instead of just one straight. I don't know. Maybe it would be worth sticking to the left. I think it'd be cooler to go to the right, personally. I'll figure it out. Let's just go ahead and jump back into the time lapse and finish this out. So I stopped building here very strategically, very specifically, because just like I said at the beginning of the video, there's this kind of cutout, again, an intended route going off the side of the mountain. And I hope you can see that I've lined ourselves up with the entrance to it. Across the river here, we see a little tiny bump here. And this is the start of our trip to the coal mine. Now, like the iron mine and kind of like going to the smelter, I think it's better to build from the top down. So we're actually going to go over here to the coal mine, and we're going to start from there. So once at the coal mine, again, you're going to notice a similar patch of gravel dust or whatever this is, just like we did at the iron mine. Now, this is what we're going to use to line up just our tracks between the docks, the chutes, or the docks and the chutes, I guess. But one thing you may notice is that that dock farther along is farther out. You know, these two pieces of wood are not in line with each other. So it's better to build from this guy first. And we're just going to do just that. Use my correct alignment. Thinking it's probably going to have to go over a little bit, so I'm thinking like this. Activate circle mode. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see the track isn't perfectly parallel, but I needed it that way just so the track can also equally be over here. Now it's going to be tight. I actually think it could probably be pushed out even further. So I'm actually going to go 26 instead of 25. Let's see what that looks like. Lining up here, draw it out. Okay, that seems to be farther. It is. Now, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to say this is fine. I can't recall off the top of my head if this will actually work. So, I'm going to take a risk and try it. I have a feeling it will and it won't. So, we'll see. Now, just like we've done everywhere else, we're going to actually use a bridge to kind of draw out where the loading and unloading areas are. So, bridge. Straight piece, bridge, going over this, we'll do 8 meters, why not, straight, 6.5, bridge, and I can go down this entire length, and that is that. Okay, now what else, what can we do up here? Well, since we're here, I think it might be good to build at least some kind of platform, or I'm going to say station, if you will. I don't know. There's a lot of space up here, and the first thing I want to do with it is build a return loop, a reverse loop, if you will. Because once we're here, we don't need to go anywhere else. Yeah. We could, I guess, ride the valley straight and loop back, but that is more difficult than you think, because it's pretty far down there, and so we need like a giant bridge to get across there and ride back down. So what's gonna happen here? Well, we're gonna need a switch of some sorts to make the loop, and I think first I actually want to put a switch maybe like this, but let's back it up. We'll do 13 meters. I don't know why, it seems fine to me. Actually, I don't like that as much. Yeah, that seems fine. And here's why. One thing I see sometimes is if I place a switch normally like this. Okay, great, I have my switch, I can go out that way. And then look at the angle here. What I want to do is I want to make a return loop that turns right first. I want to make sure it goes this way, because that's where the terrain naturally just wants us to do it. But with this straight piece, look how far over I am to the left compared to instead of going right. So one simple trick you can do is take a left facing switch or an opposite facing switch and place it on the turnout instead. That way I'm angled just ever so slightly better to the right. Now from here, I will put a switch again for the return loop. But actually, no, I'm not gonna do this. Do something else. Okay, I made my decision. What I'm gonna do is have the loop go this way, but also place a switch here, like so. But now I'm concerned if this is parallel or not. There's one way to figure this out. Okay, they are. That's cool. Alright, now we got that settled. Something less to worry about. But now we can kind of see the shape. At least in my head I can. We're going to turn it out to the right here, and it's going to loop back into this switch. And from here I can put a yard of sorts. Yeah, I don't think we need too much. It's just me on this world, so we'll leave it there. And let me just kind of speed through this real quickly, and I'll get back to you when it's done. Okay, so I'm taking a pause before finishing the loop because I want to point out something. So you know your loop is gonna be, I want to say return to where you started if the other side of it, the halfway point, if you will, is lining up with where you place your switch. So the way I'm kind of thinking about this is the center of the circle is where those switches are, and so I'm just slightly under or in line with the switches over there. Which means if I continue this radius, I should line up perfectly or close to it, if not on the mark. Now, I'm also going to keep talking here in terms of just to actually make this. So again, remember, if the further I like stick out a piece, if you will, the more like it's going to warp. That's what I'm going to use. The more it's going to warp. So I'm going to build in 20-meter segments here. I'm using steel bridge because, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the wooden bridge will be able to make it. Yeah, it's way too tall. So I'm gonna delete this one because I hate that little support. But otherwise, yes, you just want to build in smaller segments as best you can. I'm gonna stick to 20 meter. Probably it'd be better to do slightly longer ones, but I'm not too worrying about it because at this point, I'm just trying to get around. I don't really care what it looks like as long as I can just get around this mountain or do my loop. So, just like this, I'm going to continue on and finish the loop. Okay, and ta-da! It is done. It's just that simple. I say that, but yeah, I mean, I did a 52 meter. I can probably do a little bit bigger, but in case you need the save space, I'm gonna say, then you might consider doing the same thing, building a smaller loop. And also, if you build a bigger loop, then you probably also have to worry about how far it's sticking out from this cliff. So the less we can do that, the better. Alright, so I'm gonna probably finish this after we do the grade. I don't think it's that important, but I will show you how I at least, connect it. So where we need to head from here is down this cliff, or to the right of that little cliff right there. So I'm gonna give us plenty of space at least to do that much. Now remember, I placed my, I want to say my switches like this. So now we're heading over there, and what I can do even more, something like this. A little bit better. Now I'm debating. What happens if I do this? So from here I need to start my grade down. I'm gonna do negative, I think 1 will be fine. Okay, don't trust this corner. This corner becomes really sharp right here. So I just need to find some way to turn. I'm gonna do negative 1.5. Alright, we'll do 98 for 50. And then see, even like that it gets really sharp, but I messed up. That was way too close. So we're gonna fix it. Okay, so I just fixed that. It looks a little wonky, but we don't care. Now I'm gonna go to stone wall because we're entering this cliff. Let's do 22. Oh, you know, before I even continue that, let's go back to here so I can continue what I was saying. So yeah, we built the yard, and now this should be nice and parallel. What I'm gonna do now is connect it up. See what happens. Then you can delete this switch. I'm just gonna back this up a little bit. And ta-da! Cool. Alright, so we got a little bit of a yard set up here, some storage lanes, and then our main delivery. And then we have a return loop. And it's pretty quick, not gonna lie. Okay, now we can tackle the grade. So I'm going at negative 1.5% down, and I'm tempted to go to 2, but I'm gonna wait on that for right now. So negative 1.5, I think, is what we were at. You can see here it kind of, I want to say smooths. Yes, smoothens out for a little bit. Now what I'm trying to do here is find a good curve that'll get us into here. 198. You can see negative 1.5. If I do 2, I think we'll be okay. Oh, not there though. Okay. So there I stick out a lot. Just to keep it simple, I'm using stone wall. Now, before we actually continue, I'm going to fix this, you know, the actual entrance to it, because I'm not going to lie, I think it kind of looks bad. So, for here, I'm just going to delete both of these and just replace one piece so it doesn't look as bad, I think. That's what that did. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. That works. And that's the power, I want to say the magic of freehand stuff. And this, I don't like that the bridge is a little too far over. Or not too far over, it took, whatever. I just didn't like it. So now I'm extending this piece out. 13 again. I hope I don't get bad luck for that. Yeah, we'll use this one. Cool. I wonder if I have to replace this piece too. Actually, okay. I'm gonna do something. I'm probably gonna regret this. But I want to see what happens when I replace both these stone wall pieces. It's not as bad. Looks rather smooth. Probably connects to it a little bit better, but now not what I wanted to do. There we go. I want to see if this is actually at a certain angle or not. Yeah. Well, it's weird. Like, I can't tell if it's, I think it's in the 40s. you know what? It's fine. It's fine. If it looks good, it looks good. That's all that really matters. Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to use the steel bridge, and we're just going to go. I think we're going to continue a time lapse and just kind of work on this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just follow this intended route, turn the corner here, and I'm going to cut this. I'm not going to follow it exactly. I'm going to average out and make it more of a circle U shape here. And then, yeah, we're just going to head down the mountain as best as we can, and I'll pause when I need to. I want to talk about something. But let's get it done. Unfortunately, I think I had to go down to either like sharper than 2, maybe 2.5%. I'm gonna try that first, but I think it's too high over on that side where that bridge is. I would like to get it down a little bit more. The reason it's high is because since we cut a part of the route out, we're not doing this anymore. So we're gonna have to make up the height a little bit. I have a feeling we're going to keep the sharper grade a little bit longer. It's usually how this goes. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna try again from there. I like this. This is fine. This is fine. So I'm gonna delete probably these two pieces and reconnect them. But it's the from the steel bridge on. I'm probably gonna make sharper. So let's just chug on along and see if we can fix it. So I wanted to take a pause for a second and just talk about what we built so far. As you can see, we have our coal mine set up, a short little yard, our nice big reverse loop, and then our grade down thus far. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about was this loop that we just built. So I know I've said it a few times now over this series, but spiral curves, how does that actually look like? Well, the piece I'm standing on right now, we built is 75 meters. This piece over here on the left is 75 meters, but the pieces connecting them in the middle are 60. So there's a 15 meter radius or 15 meter radius discrepancy between the two pieces. And you can see the shape. It's more like the edge of a spoon, if you will, than it is a perfect circle. This is what a spiral curve entails. And the actual cutout was not circular, so we needed to do this to make it work. Now this looks like a more 90-degree angle, but we know there's slight transfer pieces connecting them. Same thing here. This is 52, and then this was 100. This is kind of like a mix of both, if you will, and so on and so on. And it just works. Okay, these real life principles work, and I just wanted to share that with you. So let's go back and actually finish this grade. There we go. Finally. We are done. Alright. Let's go take a look in rows extended and let's see how we did. I haven't built the intended routes in a long time, so this is kind of making me happy. A little bit of a trip down memory lane. Now, we're going to end this with a line overview of just how long it takes. Kind of maybe want to put it in real time, but I don't think I will. But anywho, so from when we built the smelter area, we had our kind of like Y interchange. From there, we had our coal mine line. Nice. Cross over the river and just snake its way up the gorge. We had a little bit of a challenge with these low areas for our track, so we had to do some bridge replacement. Kind of drove up our cost, but it's okay. We got there in the end. And just, yeah, built our way slowly but surely up and through the valley. Then when we got to the valley, we went up to the coal mine, built our little industry setup here, and went down the grade. We started with a 2%, but eventually needed to go to 3% just to catch up with the terrain. However, when we got to our horseshoe curve, we had to flatten out to a negative 1.5% because of the terrain. Then, once we finished the loop, we went back down to a negative 3%, almost entirely. There's this part of 2% down, changed it to negative 3% all the way until we connected up with our last bit of track originally. So, overall, the max grade is 3%, and has mixes of 1 to anywhere from 1 to 3%. And that's actually going to be really nice for when we run trains through it. I do plan to have some of my friends get on here, and we'll just do a live operating session, and that should be fun. Alright everyone, I think we're going to end it here. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing. And also, while you're at it, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think of this route. It's been a trip down memory lane for me to do this route once again, but I know there's plenty of other ways. On my last save, I took this higher route to the left, and that was pretty interesting. A lot of bridges there. And then on another friend of mine, his save, we built around to the right and across the waterfall. So there's plenty of ways to do this, and I just took the intended route because, in my opinion, I think that's the easiest. No harm, no foul. So again, my name's Kist, and I thank you for watching.